Hey, everybody. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Yes, that's right. It's time for Sarcastic Distractions, the interesting podcast for interesting people. Featuring, as always, the Gentleman Society of Podcasting. Myself, Harvey. My heterosexual life mate, David.
Yellow.
The ever-loving, ever-thinking AJ.
How do?
Ever thinking.
You do.
Yeah. I hope he is. I don't know. Are you thinking right now?
Doesn't
AJ, are you thinking right now?
I think so.
Okay.
Good play.
Am I?
Are you?
Am I?
Only
If I am.
You look like you're
if
thinking
I
right
think,
now.
If I think, therefore I am, and I am, therefore I'm thinking.
Look at that, pulling out Descartes. Wow, this guy right
Well,
here. That's amazing.
I feel like daydreaming, but I guess that's kind of like thinking.
I feel like that is thinking.
Yeah.
it's
Still
sort of a
thinking.
Subconsciously thinking? Is that
Yeah,
thing?
well,
It's a version of thinking.
It is, yeah.
Definitely.
Just the
Why is it daydreaming and not day imagining?
because daydreaming sounds nicer.
That's true. That's true. In case you couldn't figure it out today, that's not what we're talking about.
No.
We are talking about revisionist history or history revisions of what if you will, certain historical events happened another way or happened differently. And shout out to Malcolm Gladwell, who does an entire podcast on this. I just thought it'd be fun to talk about those sorts of things. So we'll lob a softball. We'll do an easy one. The one that everyone always comes back to, and that's what if Germany won World War II and it wasn't the Allies? What would our world look like?
I don't know.
We'd have pointy hats. Little points on our hats.
Why would we have
Because
pointy
the
hats?
German helmets had little.
Wasn't that World War One?
I think that was World War One.
Well, he would have brought them back. It would have been like retro vintage.
Oh, it would have been a thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I got you. Do you think Hitler would have shaved his mustache at some point, or was that a ride or die sort of thing?
I truly have no idea.
I think that was just a piece of his face. I don't even think it was,
it was
a
attached.
mustache. It was literally like that's what the top part underneath his nose and his lip looked like.
Okay,
Yeah.
like a weird ass hair lip.
Black. Yeah.
The worst hair lip of life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did they make a TV show already of this?
Yeah, it's called Man of the Highest
That's
Castle,
it,
which
yeah.
was
A
written
book
by
It was based off a book, by a good author. I can't think of the name.
Vonnegut.
Though.
I think Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah, I think
That's what it
so.
is. Yeah,
I could be wrong, but
I
you
could
could be
be wrong,
wrong.
too.
Every
Yeah.
time I hear that name, I think of like a figure skater for some reason. That name belongs to
Kurt Vonnegut.
That name belongs to a figure skater.
yeah. And coming to the ice is now Brian Boitano and Kurt Vonnegut. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Right?
It does work. You're right.
Yeah, it definitely would. Yeah, but no, Kurt Vonnegut is one of the most prolific authors ever.
Yeah.
In my
I don't
opinion.
think I ever read that book. I do remember
No.
watching or trying to watch the show, but it was an Amazon show or something.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
Amazon show. Absolutely. I have not
Actually,
watched it.
I could try to watch that now that I think
You
about
should.
it.
I hear it's really great. I've just not watched it.
I mean, I guess
myself.
we could point at the Yeti in the room and there would probably be less ethnic peoples,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
That's true.
Yeah,
There'd be a
definitely
much
out of
more
Europe.
dominant white presence.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, definitely out of Europe there'd be. It's actually one of those other funnyism things. Because in theory, if the Germans won, then that would potentially mean the Japanese won. How the hell do you think that would be?
Oh, yeah.
That's really out there because there would be
That's
technically no
true.
Eating a
China.
lot of sushi.
That's true. Good point. Japan would be at that higher
Yeah,
point.
it
of the
would
food
be
chain.
Japan.
Well, then
Yeah.
Yeah.
Italy would have won too then.
Yep.
Well, no, that's impossible. But
And yeah, no, what are you, stupid AJ? Come on. You don't know nothing about fucking revisionism.
I guess it'd be like
But Russia too, I think.
we
too.
would have lost a bunch of countries, right? Like there would probably be no more. Poland would be Germany. stuff
Poland
like
was
that.
part of the USSR back then.
yeah,
And it would still have been part of the USSR
But they-
because they were one of the major before
But
Germany did.
They were invaded by Germany.
Yes, but before that happened, they were allies.
Maybe not Germany. Let's call them the Nazis because not everybody agreed with the Nazi thing.
I don't know. When you got a tank gun in your face, you're probably agreeing. But no,
Well,
you're saying.
yeah.
Not everybody. You're right. Nazi Germany is what we're
Yes.
talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. Please don't demonetize us. You know what? Just monetize us once, please.
Can you monetize us so we can be demonetized, please?
Yeah, monetize us so you can take it away from us, please. That'd be great. I don't know what you can and can't say on YouTube.
and look at that,
whatever.
5 minutes in
Oh, there we go.
already.
Off the rails. But what would the Western world look like? You know, what would
I don't
Canada
know.
and
Would
US?
it be?
I actually think that I think, and again, have no proof, that it actually would be much. It's more the Japan that I think. So if we take Japan out of that equation and we just focus on Germany winning, I actually think it'd be a little less Western impact. Again, the whole reason why Western exists in the way that we understand it is because Europe got so banged up that we had it all.
It was reactionary. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if we lost, but Germany still won, let's just say Europe and a good chunk of the North Africa, then technically they could be more powerful, but again, like they also stretched and went out full limits. Yeah, now you throw Japan into that mix. If they won, then there'd be no China today in the sense of how we know. Like to me, that's more out there. Like I imagine a world without China.
Yeah, I think
we know
you're
them today.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
Like if you think of China's history, they were poor before like the 80s. Like they were very, very, very poor.
Overall the country,
yeah.
Yep.
And it wasn't until then that they started to rise into the China that we know today. But yeah, to your point, I didn't think about the Japanese component, Dave. If Japan had won in that war as well, we wouldn't be talking about China as this global superpower of any sort, and it would most likely be Japan.
Most likely,
yeah.
Which probably would have affected places like Korea.
Absolutely.
Oh God, yes.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Both sides.
And like Vietnam and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, again, it's one of those, in a weird way, like maybe they wouldn't even have happened in the same sense that they happened within our time. Right?
Sure, yeah.
So
I mean, what would it look like without a world without the atom bomb? You know what I mean? What would, if they weren't devastated by
I
two,
think the
for fuck's
bomb
sakes.
would have still occurred. I think the bomb would have still occurred.
On our side?
Well, that's the question. I truly don't know. It's one of those things. I still think the bomb would have
You think so? You think we were heading towards that?
Oh, overall, yes.
Yeah.
I think even before the wars, it was a thing. It's just the war helped, bring that forward even faster. But I do think that would have still occurred.
I wish
now,
you were
with
wrong,
it
but you're probably
changed,
right.
Who knows? It's no different than today.
But what if it was Germany dropping the bomb? What if that instead of us, the U.S. dropping the bomb on Hiroshima and I can't remember the other city,
Nagasaki.
Yeah, Nagasaki. Thank you. It was dropped on, I don't know, even Hawaii or anywhere U.S. based.
I was just thinking about it, and it's interesting that it didn't happen. That wasn't the retaliation, because I would assume that we weren't the only country that had such a weapon.
My understanding, actually, for that time, the states were the only country. Yeah, they were. Other countries countries were working on it, is my understanding. But the states were the first one to actually be able to produce, deploy, and use.
That was the race, wasn't it?
The race started after.
Oh, it was after
World War II, because then Russia started joining in that fun,
right?
And then it was
the Cold War thing.
Yeah, the Cold War, and that was because of World War II. That my understanding, that was because we had Russia and the States, and then unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on perspective, Russia hit the whole '80s thing, and then that's also where now China started to come up.
Yeah,
right.
That's right. Yeah,
because we had and again, us in our lifetimes, like. The 90s were the magical years for basically everybody in the Western countries.
I'm not going to lie. We got some pretty good action movies out of that whole scenario, though. Cold War stuff and like Russia being the bad guy and China being the bad guy and Arnold Schwarzenegger coming in. And
it was a great narrative for sure.
Doing his Arnold Schwarzenegger thing. Those were the action movies.
Not these facilities that we got now.
No.
What's funny, I just watched a movie, I can't remember which one it was, but I love that everybody talks about the bad guys. Oh, it was I finally saw Top Gun, the Top Gun
the
sequel.
new one? Yeah.
But what I love about it, they never actually say who they're bombing.
No, of course not.
Never throughout that entire movie. They never say whom they're going after.
Back in the 80s, it was always the Kremlin.
Yeah. But now,
Kremlin.
Nope, it's just we have to go hit this location because they're bad. But where is it? They never mention where. Nope. And there's nothing
it's here.
discernible about it at all.
Nice.
I always thought that was funny. It's just like one of those, we've hit that time where it's, no, just get those bad guys.
Well, there you go. And those movies would be very fucking different if the Axis won the war.
Talking about revisionist history, I guess you could look at Inglourious Bastards in a way.
Oh, that is definitely a revisionist film.
Because,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, I would say the last 4 films of his would be revisionist films.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And that not being, I guess that's, I mean, yeah, it's not military history, but some form.
That's fine.
It's some form of history.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. It was
Film
a
history.
phenomenon that took over pop culture for a time. The whole Charles Manson stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And to revision that as something completely different is very interesting. Which I don't know if I'm happy about. That's a whole other conversation. If I'm good with Tarantino doing that whole revisioning thing, but I digress.
I have no context, so I can't even.
I guess you can kind of think of it as like science fiction. Right?
Yeah,
It's
essentially,
it's an alternate timeline.
That's true. It is
There
an
you
alternate
go.
timeline.
It's an alternate timeline.
Yeah,
You watch, shit like Marvel movies and shit,
it's true.
and you accept the fiction that is being
You're right.
given to you
I do.
in regards to alternate timelines and
But I don't accept
and a
it
blip.
when I'm watching quote unquote biographies or quote unquote when it's supposed
But it
to be
wasn't
this way.
because it was a story.
I know.
It
I
was a
know.
story.
I know. Yeah. I'm just thinking about whenever I watched any of their latest biographies coming out. I'm like, that's bullshit. That wasn't.
Oh,
real.
like the biopic
yeah,
type things.
yeah. But that's all good. Okay, that's fun. So let's go back a little further, shall we?
But revisionist history.
Oh.
Hold on.
All right.
My understanding from what you sent out today
Mm-hmm.
is revisionist history isn't necessarily just a what if
Mhm.
scenario. It's people disputing what has been written down in history books
That is also an aspect.
based off of certain fact that has come up after.
Right. People are revising history now
Yeah.
based off current evidence.
So it's not just like I say, it's not just a fictional what if scenario.
Sure.
There is some factual realism to the idea of revisionist history.
Yeah. I was going to go for the more fun. Let's just talk about what if scenarios. But yeah, let's
Okay.
talk about.
Hey, you sent the article out, man.
Sure.
I'm
Yeah,
just-
okay,
I'm
AJ,
just-
fine. We'll get all
Fine,
serious.
No, we can talk about it. Yeah.
I'm
But you're right.
just
That is
sucking in what I
that
read.
is something that is considered revisionist as well, where people are using the information of today or the ways we have to measure information today for data to rewrite what the history is. Because at the end of the day, history is written by the victors. So
And I guess we can use the whole Christopher Columbus scenario as the example.
that's a great
which
example.
would be an easy example to use.
Yeah.
Not discovering the Americas, but
Which is pretty common knowledge now, but when we were kids, it was definitely
right.
not, right?
Even as not, I'm going to say far back, but as soon as the 80s and whatnot, it was still said that Christopher Columbus discovered
Right.
America.
Yeah.
But there was peoples here first, so that, and I guess that's where the argument comes in. It's like, well, how can you discover something if somebody's already there?
Right.
Right.
You can conquer it. Take
And
over
it's
the land.
going and yeah, that's what I was reading. It goes into saying that people feel or believe that that's what his purpose was. It wasn't to go and find a new land or anything. It was to go and conquer.
Right.
It was to go and amass.
Yeah. And then
He was more of a conqueror.
Yeah.
than some form of hero.
Wasn't he trying to prove something?
I think from what they tell us, his whole thing, it was the spice trade. So he was trying
Right.
to go to India
Mm-hmm.
and get spices.
Oh, he fucked up.
But he fucked up and landed here, and because the people who lived here were brown, he assumed they were Indians from India.
Yeah.
But we obviously know that's not
Right.
actual.
Odd.
But that's what they tell. That's the story that they want us to know, maybe, because people are saying like, no, he was this dude who's like, let's go fuck those people up
right.
and steal their shit,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
like so
And
many other people did in those times
let's
too.
just
'Cause
make a
that's
holiday celebrating
that's how
it.
kings and yeah, right. That's how kings and whatnot also amassed their land to create England or whatever. Right? They went and conquered. That's just kind of what you did.
I guess I had nothing better to do.
That's how you got shit. I don't know. Yeah, right.
That was less of a moral compass back then.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So yeah, that's what I learned.
Yeah, that's pretty
And,
crazy.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with the revisionist. I don't think it was so pure You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
like he didn't just land here. It was like, oh, there's people here. Well, we'll try to live in harmony or some stupid shit. No, he was like, no, fuck you. I want it.
Yeah.
And he came in and pow, 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 pow.
You look at most
STARS,
history,
actually.
especially
Stab.
people with power. Most history, though, they've done things. It's always that thing. 'Cause
They've done
for the
things.
time that they were in, it was normal. It was okay. I'm not saying it's right,
was
but in their
normalized.
time,
Let's say
it was
normalized.
okay.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
now, it's not allowed.
Right.
Like, because it is that one balance. Again, I'm not saying that it absolves certainly of things that have been done, but it's one of those challenges that whenever you look at history, like John A. Macdonald, great prime minister, helped Canada, blah, 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 but also stopped on a lot of native people that were here.
Mhm.
Well, he quit the drinking. He was
He
a
did
drinker.
quit
and
it,
then
but he
quit.
did drink a lot.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. It's one of those things like, so do we tear down, and not name schools based off of them? To be honest, it is one of those, some people I will agree, yeah, we shouldn't be naming schools or things that way. Other things,
Yeah.
it's one of those, yeah, but at that time, but that's what I mean. Do we absolve because
And
of the
that's,
time?
I think you're right, because you could go back into a lot of U.S. histories, and they've done this for big name, slave owners or shit like that. But a lot of people did have slaves and used
Yes.
that kind of work, and they're still naming things after them because it's not a big name, right? They're not taking down
Well, if-
statues and taking down plaques and stuff like that.
It's just, where is the
Because-
line is that big
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
Right? Because, even look at the Queen,
Mm-hmm.
Was she horrible? No, she adapted through ages, but I'm sure at some point she did and said bad things she probably shouldn't have said. I don't have any examples, sadly, but it may have happened.
Possibly.
Definitely.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things of,
To err is human, right?
yeah, well, it's also the place and time you're in. Like, for all we know, there could be a look back at us
Oh,
and
that's
going,
gonna happen.
like, how we were horrible people because we would use electricity to do podcasts, which caused the overall Arctic to melt, which resulted in this. And
For sure.
and because of that, we're horrible.
Yeah. We are gonna get looked upon and for all our mistakes as
Yeah.
well.
Or internet and,
Yeah,
social
Like
media and
barbarians
shit.
we are.
For sure.
Yeah, it's just, part of it, and it's one of those things. For me, it's look back, and certainly somebody who has passed and has been alive for like 100 years, you try to, in my mind, try to think of the good things, and then if they have done incorrect, improper activities, then it's one of those, okay, well, let's make sure we don't repeat that, as much as we can. I don't know. That's where I'm going with this. And yes, but in some magical universe where I'm perfectly, an angel. Oh wait, that is today.
I was gonna say, isn't that this timeline?
Yeah,
Isn't
that's
that
now?
now?
Sorry, I am an angel right now. That's right. I'm a beautiful angel. I don't know where I'm going with this
Satan
now.
was an angel too. Just remember that.
That's right, he was.
Yeah, but I'm the good angel, and not just good looking, but good. Yeah.
He was once too.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I stand because it's so much gray area when you think about, because at the end of the day, every human's good, every human's bad. We all hold.
Oh yeah, it's
Counts in
like
that.
cell phones. We each have cell phones. Where were
Right.
those produced and made, and all these things, and
Right.
the clothes we're wearing, same thing.
Exactly. We all turn a blind eye to certain ignorances and such. And
Mhm.
it is what it is. But should we glorify anybody, let alone, those that have committed some massive wrongs like Columbus or whomever? Because you think about it, that's the difference. You don't see anybody glorify. Well, I hope you don't see anybody glorifying Hitler or Stalin.
Well,
or
we know
anything.
that there are people that do
Yes.
that.
Yes,
sure.
yes, there are. But the mass majority does not.
Yes.
Right? The mass
Correct.
majority realizes, oh, bad guys. Let's not support
Mhm.
that. Let's, we look the other
And
way.
for somebody like Hitler, don't get me wrong, there are people that do, talk about how great he is, blah, 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 people. But again, let's make it a harder discussion. You look at people like Trump,
Right.
right? Like, well, that's what I mean. For me personally, that is like, how the fuck did he ever become a president? But okay, fine.
We have the
But
data
there
to show
are
you.
people who truly think Trump is the greatest next thing. And it's one
Right.
of those just,
There are people who truly believe that Trump is currently still president.
well, and
Yeah.
that, well, he's a
There's a-
reapplied to
No,
actually
there
go
are people.
again.
There are people who believe that
Yeah.
because he was cheated out of the presidency, that he never lost and he is still president.
Yeah, nice. But that's what I mean. It's one of those, it's just,
There you go, revisionist history.
it's
right there.
human. Like we are, I think
Mhm.
it's just, And yeah, I have no good anything. I don't know where I'm going with this other than I'm
No,
now
I
just
get your
randomly
point, though.
complaining.
I get your point. Trump is a very great example of that because technically speaking, we're living revisionist history through
Yeah,
that
to a
thing.
certain extent.
And now we're seeing this division amongst people where one side on any topic sees it one way and another side sees it another way. And we don't know what that will look like until the wake of history happens. And then it'll be,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I still remember Trump becoming like that leading up to him, like when he's running and the election and stuff. And I was with some friends, an American friend at that. And I said, wouldn't that be crazy if he won? She's like, don't talk like that. I'm like, I know, but just wouldn't that be fucking crazy?
I have this.
I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I had the most funny timing. I happened to be in the States on election day, and we were flying home.
What state? Just so I know.
New York.
Okay.
And we're flying home. So as we're getting on the plane, the first things are coming in about, what's happening, and it's all Hillary,
Yep.
for sure, Hillary. By the time we landed, got in the car, and we started driving home, it had started to flip.
Right.
Trump's actually getting ahead. He's winning in these and these and these. By the time I actually got home, nope, it was Trump.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I still find it that funny, just because everybody really thought it was going to be Clinton,
Yeah.
Hillary in this case.
Yeah. Another Clinton.
Yeah, another Clinton.
No, you're right.
Which, of course, in some ways, though, and I do have to admit, it's one of those funnyisms of, and I mean this in the good way. So Clinton, imagine Clinton won. Here we go. Let's have that for a moment. Imagine Clinton had won.
Yeah, there's a good revision. I was thinking the same thing, actually.
Like, so on one hand, I kind of think that would things have been better? Well, probably for the Americans, yes. I do think things would have been better.
For the most part, probably.
Yeah, probably. But here's the other funny thing that popped in my head. In another way, it's kind of almost bad because now it's almost like tied to the family almost. Like the family has the control. And, so you had two, Clinton for the two, and then you'll have Hillary for two potential terms. Still the election's happening. And then maybe, one of the kids would be old enough to now run it. And now it's Clinton,
Yeah. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
It was Bush.
Yeah, well, good call out. See, that's a good playback.
Well, it was
You're right.
Bush in the 80s and then Bush in the 90s. You know what I mean? There was like a gap there.
Yeah, but
Still two Bushes.
But still two Bushes. Yeah,
Still two
definitely.
Bushes.
Two Bushes.
Yeah, really, I only like one Bush personally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a one Bush guy myself.
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't need two.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife doesn't mind too because I got a little in the front, a little in the back. But hey, elder agers, fuck.
That's right.
The look I just got from it.
But I'm sure they try to turn The Office into a legacy status. Now we have our second Trudeau in power here in Canada.
Well, in Canada though, you can have
he could be there for the next fucking 30 years.
Yeah.
if
In
he plays
Canada, we
his
have
card
no
right.
no
Absolutely.
limitation. Yeah.
Well, I also remember. I feel okay. Back then, there was definitely that division of the country was happening. You could see it, and I think that's I think ultimately why we saw Trump win. So I think yes, if Hillary did win, the country would be in better shape, politically speaking, and just a little bit more order. I think, but I think there would still be a nagging voice of the voiceless out there who wanted Trump to be in power. So I think that would have risen.
That happens either way.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, it does.
Regardless of who. But because Trump is who he is and he has the personality he has, I think it created more of a divide.
By him winning?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that perception.
Doing what he did and eventually inciting an insurrection.
So you think him losing would have been a sign of saying, "Oh, we don't act this way," sort of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like because there's always that, and I feel like there's always gonna be that underlying divide. There's always a divide of class or race or what have you, things that
Religion,
I like
all the
Pokemon
things.
Blue, you like Pokemon Red, let's fight. Like there's always
I'm Pokemon Green.
there's always
I'm just not Pokemon.
headbutting going on, but he brought it to the surface. His term brought a lot of things that just kind of
Yeah, he was very
know.
aggressive in many, many ways.
Mm.
Now, the one thing though, it's one of those funnyisms though. We talk about how horrible he was, and definitely the way he, how do I phrase this? Worked with China, put a lot of pressure,
China.
a lot of rules in play.
Mhm.
And we talked. I remember the time everybody's like, "Oh, this is horrible. We should be free trade. What are we doing? Locking things down." And it's one of those. He's been out of office now for what, 2-3 years? 2
Yeah,
years?
it's 24. Yeah, 2
Yeah.
years, 2+ years now.
Most of those policies still are in play.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they haven't changed.
Yeah.
Of course,
So it's
yeah.
one of those things. As horrible as he is as a person, which from my perspective, and this is my opinion, yes, he is a horrible human.
Mhm, mhm.
But in other ways, I actually got to give him a bit of a fucking head nod because he has done some things that were decent for
I
the
would
economy.
say I would say one of the only things I wouldn't disagree with would be manufacturing and having things
Yes.
manufactured in the United States,
Key elements,
which
things like that.
would
Yeah.
create jobs, which
Yep.
would help economy,
Yep.
so on
And
and
that
so
was
forth.
yeah.
I don't disagree with that, but I also don't disagree with that you should be able to buy products from whoever the fuck you want to buy products from. Right? So if there is a company who's like, we want to buy this product from China because it's cheaper than buying it from somebody in Wisconsin, they should be allowed to do that too.
And the only
It
challenge
really depends
on that.
on the product.
Well, see, it's also
Well,
the
yeah.
challenge is
Ground rhino horn is one thing.
no.
no. I'm not even talking about that level because now we're going way off into
Yeah.
economics because the challenge from that perspective is so because again most
Limit
companies
how much you can buy from that company.
it's just one of those challenges of country X. Let's say they're cheaper; they're only $1 for this item, whereas
Mhm.
every other country is $4. So
Mhm.
I'm going to go to country X to buy
Mhm.
this product. Great. Except country X actually is a bunch of people in slavery, misappropriates,
Yeah.
doesn't do proper
Mhm.
humanitarian
Safety standards are out the window,
Right. And
or
so
whatever.
that's to me that's where it gets complex.
You're buying a subpar
Okay.
product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's to me and again that's the challenge of from a government perspective, you do somewhat have to step in and play based on what the people in your society, your country would like to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your goal should be making your public and your people better.
Yeah.
That should be the goal.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what happens every time, but that should be the goal
Well,
of
it should be, and again, it's the attempt to try because
at least the attempt. Yeah. If
Because don't get me wrong, you go back 100 years where most things were made in the country that you
Live in.
live in.
Yeah.
Were things better 100 years ago? No,
they sure were not. No, global innovation fixed that.
Well, and the thing is,
Well, yeah, in certain
yeah.
countries too, I guess, right? Because like Germany makes some pretty good shit.
Yeah, they make
Right.
the best shit. As we all know, that's the world narrative. If you want state of the art engineering and manufacturing, you trust Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And Japanese make some good shit.
They make some. They're the kings of electronics. You know. I mean,
a
well,
little less nowadays than the 80s.
a little bit
90s.
less. Yeah, I was gonna say
Oh, the
Korea's
80s?
kind of up
yeah,
there
Korea,
now too.
Korea's got like
Korea.
I remember when Samsung, you'd only see that kind of brand in Asian
Yeah.
countries
Yeah.
or European countries. You wouldn't see it in North America.
Yeah, I remember reading somewhere that every TV manufacturer, I don't know how old this is or how relevant it is now, but every TV manufacturer basically has to give a cut to Samsung because of some technology that they patented is in literally
Yeah.
every fucking TV.
Yeah, nice.
Motorola's the same.
Oh, yeah, Motorola. Yeah,
There's a lot of Motorola chips and Motorola parts in your fucking phone.
Oh yeah,
Sure, yeah.
everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
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 Well, there's a fun revisionist history to think about. What if we did not invent the internet? I tell you one thing, this podcast would not exist. That's for sure.
But one could argue
Yeah.
that if we didn't have the internet, late night talk radio might exist.
That's
in a
true.
better manner.
We'd probably
Fuck,
have
I
like
miss
a
late night.
I
talk
know,
radio.
man. Fuck, we'd have our own like ham radio station or something.
I was gonna say like, I guess you can't do that. You would have to be licensed because TV had your cable access community channels, but radio never really.
AM stations had some
Yeah,
things.
Yeah.
you could be AM
Yep.
was a bit more free for all.
I don't know.
Yep,
I
yep.
guess
There were still rules. but
I grew up in an AM society and it was
Ah.
just a regular. But I guess that's how they ran it.
Yeah.
It was just your regular standard adult contemporary radio station.
Yeah, you're fun.
Yeah, I remember AM stations back when I was a kid where, I have to admit, driving my dad, because we would do the weekend pickup, drive to wherever where he was living, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, talk radio. And like he was addicted.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, my parents used to listen to CBC radio a lot.
Yeah.
I get it. It's the same thing as listening to podcasts today, right?
Well, it's similar.
CBC
Similar,
radio,
right?
yeah, for sure. 100%. It's definitely like listening to podcasts
Pretty much
or
is.
audiobooks.
It pretty
Yeah.
much is, yeah.
It's the same fucking thing.
In fact, they'll tell you to go to their app so you can listen to a podcast for them.
Yeah, now,
Later on,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, they are full on that side.
But
now.
you always had, the people that talk like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Check
Hi,
my muffins.
my name's Maury Shikowitz, and
I used to be pretty
This
into the
is,
CBC. I must
CBC
admit,
Radio
I'm a
1.
little less nowadays.
tonight we're going to
Yeah.
talk to Dr. Ann Rogers
Yep.
about blisters.
Blisters do suck though. Like
They're pretty bad, yeah.
Yeah, I always remember it. And I don't get them much anymore, so I don't know what I was doing wrong as a kid. I always get the fucking blister
Oh,
in the back of my
you didn't
foot.
know how to masturbate. That's why.
No, back
you
of my foot.
Oh,
What the
okay. Sorry.
fuck are you
Sorry.
doing here? Wow. Okay. Yeah, you win on that one. Yeah. Wow. Fuck.
Somebody's been at home alone a little too long, I think.
He was young. He didn't know. He didn't know.
Fuck.
Yeah. Blisters do suck. They're the worst.
They are.
Yeah, I just think that'd be an interesting thought. I've thought about that a lot.
But yeah, there wouldn't be a lot of a lot of things
That's right.
because there's a lot of music that's made.
I can
through-
tell you-
through interwebs now. There's a lot of
Almost
film
100%.
that's done.
We would definitely still have tube TVs. We wouldn't be in the flat TV craze that we're in now.
Oh no, digital signals probably wouldn't exist.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been.
Well, I guess it's more, and again, so this is where, from my perspective, the internet. So more, think of it this way: imagine the internet does exist, but ignore how truly open it is in a lot of
It's
ways.
very
And
restricted.
imagine it was more like a cable channel.
Gotcha.
Think of it more like, imagine the internet where you had to sign up to
For
different
The
providers
site or
in order to get to
Yeah.
certain sites.
yeah. What if it was fucking?
Because this is television. Still,
That's true.
To this
What
day.
if it was a gate kept or whatever you want to
Yeah,
call
yeah,
it, wall
you-
gardened?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it
So
is.
you could only.
So
yeah.
like I get what you're saying. So like Netflix would only work on
Ignore things like
Rogers.
Yeah, don't worry about streaming. He's talking like you would be able to
I'm
visit
thinking Netflix
these
as a website
these select websites
yeah.
under this cable provider.
because they're in cahoots. That was going to
Yeah.
be my point.
Oh.
You gotta let me finish.
no, finish now.
You gotta let me
No,
finish.
finish now.
Yeah, but you
No,
gotta.
no,
let me
no,
finish.
no,
No, hold on.
So
No,
certain
no,
companies,
stop it.
Netflix as a company, would be in cahoots with Bell or Rogers, and the only way you could get to that site and use that service would be through Bell or Rogers.
Fair, yes, but I'm thinking even more in the sense of just website, in the sense of Facebook, in the
Yeah.
sense of getting to Wikipedia.
Okay, but that's
Even
the
news
same,
sites.
That's the same point I was just trying to
Yeah,
make.
but you compared it
It
to
has
Netflix.
nothing
Come
to
on,
do with
Wikipedia,
streaming itself. It has
CBC.
to do with a website.
Sure.
So yes, Facebook would be in cahoots with X
Yeah.
company.
Yes.
We'd be
Same
very
thing.
Yahoo would be over on
our
you know,
information would be very distorted, more so than it is now, because you'd have just people guiding the
Yeah.
information that they
Well,
want.
I think you would subscribe to things that generally, because you would then get to things like, I'll pick on Fox for a moment, where
Sure.
Fox, where all the websites they own, they're all Fox in nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then,
So Peter Griffin from Family Guy is on every
Yeah.
website.
Yeah. Right.
yeah, basically,
On all of it, That's called synergy, brand
Yeah,
marketing,
brand
brand
synergy,
marketing.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be somewhat interesting. Yeah, it all got locked
Well,
down.
Think
And I
about
remember a big time. Sorry, just what
No,
popped
sure,
to
no
my
problem,
head
problem.
was just I can remember something about there was a rule in Canada or passed, I believe it was passed, where Bell couldn't charge you extra if you were using Rogers services. So, for instance, Rogers. You have a Rogers cell phone. They can't
Sure.
charge you extra if you're going through the Bell line, Wi-Fi to
I remember
access
that
the
being a
Rogers.
thing. Yeah.
I remember something along this now.
Yeah. Like Bell had to
You
allow
couldn't
people to use their
surcharge.
lines.
Yeah, you couldn't surcharge.
Yeah, and Bell was trying to capitalize on the fact that they installed those lines fucking 100 years ago or whatever.
Well, it's
it
like
was, right?
Rogers part of the cable
Yeah,
side of
same
it.
idea. Yeah.
More physical in nature. But anyway.
For sure. Yeah. What about cell phones at that time? I mean, were Was cellular technology a thing before the internet?
Oh God, yeah.
Like the 70s, right?
I actually just watched a thing on the Tiki Talkies to tell you the truths, and it was a clip from a British show. I want to say 1969, maybe a little later. And they had the man had a cellular telephone.
Yeah, I remember Bond.
It was like
Bond had a
no,
car.
it wasn't James
Bond.
Bond.
No.
You fuck.
Bond had a car phone and like Dr. No or whatever it was, whatever fucking.
Yeah, but James Bond had shit that didn't exist. Period.
But the fact that it was
true.
even a concept back then triggered my brain to realize, oh yeah, there would have been some.
But
sort
yeah,
of
no,
radio.
it was an actual demonstration of how this. It was like a big fucking.
The box.
Yeah.
I think it was more like a mobile radio back in that time frame. But
no, you were calling. You called somebody's house phone. It wasn't a mobile radio. You called somebody's house phone. It was a phone.
I'd have to actually go look
It
that
was
up. I
not
must
like
admit.
no.
Yeah, I love know how.
It was a phone.
I love how. Yeah, I don't know what that
you
means.
have to push the button to talk on the thing with the walkie-talkie. Jesus Christ. Am I the only one who knows about telecommunications in this room?
No, I'm sure our tens of listeners will agree with you.
It's
They
moments
understand
like
what you're
this. I
talking
wish
about.
we did have the camera.
I
Just
know.
AJ getting frustrated, hands in the air.
Looking like a muppet. Well, okay, so they did exist in some fashion in the 60s and the 70s, and then they were a little bit more refined in the 80s, and then the 90s they took off. So the internet was invented in the 80s, and I believe it's...
What do you mean by invented?
Or, sorry, came
To the public, certainly more in the 90s. That was, to a
but
certain
it
extent.
was...
Technically,
Yeah,
it was around...
The internet.
The infrastructure was in the 80s, technically.
Internet wasn't invented. It just is.
It was
It
actually more
always
60s.
has been.
That's what the AI wants.
Yeah.
Speaking of revisionist history.
Yeah,
fucking-
and I started more
feel
in the
like- feel
60s,
gaslit right now.
university to university.
But yeah, that's right.
In
that's
the
right.
60s. But again, it wasn't the true internet that we know today.
So under the same...
Gophernet. Oh, there it is.
Gophernet. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's right.
You had to know the IP
Yes.
and you get the
Well,
phone
yes,
book.
yes.
I guess because I'm thinking now, like when I was a kid in my dad's office at the air base, they had this one machine and it was a teletype machine. And what you would do is it was hooked up to the phone line.
Yep.
And then people could like type on this other machine in one end of the world or one end of the, and then it would just come out on the paper. I guess that's kind of like the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially is.
Similar. Well,
And that would
Similar
have been in the
idea.
80s.
Way to
Yeah.
communicate.
oh
over
yeah,
long
internet. Like again, the internet. No, that was more late 80s, early 90s. But certainly the concept the internet is based on was before that.
Yeah.
And it was usually between
But what about-
universities.
But
Yeah.
what about like movies like War Games
Right.
with Matthew Broderick and
Yeah.
shit like that, where they had the telephone and you put
Yep.
it on the thing
Mm-hmm.
and it was like this thing and it
Yep. That's where you would literally, and again, that's more BBS type concept where you would literally call other
Your IP.
No, not IPs.
No.
You would
Oh.
actually call services,
No.
connect with your modem, and then you would now be connected to them.
Mm-hmm.
and you'd use your hand the receiver on
Yep.
the phone.
Yeah.
Internet-ish. Like I'm not knocking it, but it wasn't true what we
It was still
consider.
technically local-ish.
Well, yeah, you needed it because you went through the phone system,
Yeah.
and technically you were calling somebody, but then the communication over the phone
it
line
was like
digital. And
The ham
Yeah.
radio of the internet. So quite,
Sure,
you know,
I'll roll with that. Fuck
Sure.
it. And if somebody disagrees, feel free to provide us in the
Please.
comments along with a tip, and we'll happily reply back.
Exactly. Yeah. Please educate us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I meant to mention Donald Trump, not a sponsor.
No, yeah, Donald Trump.
But if
is
he
not a
wants to
sponsor.
sponsor us, no thank you.
No, we
Yeah.
don't.
No, thank you.
I'll
please.
pass on that one.
I don't want that sponsor. No, definitely not. But ham radios, also not a sponsor. But if you want to sponsor us, ham radios.
Motorola ham
Well,
radios.
remember-
Motorola ham radios.
I'm going to say ham radios isn't technically a company by any stretch.
I
Oh,
was gonna say
okay,
Motorola
okay.
ham radios.
Yeah, you could say Motorola
Yeah.
ham radios.
Motorola,
Yeah.
not a sponsor.
It's one of
No,
those things,
definitely
actually.
not
I shouldn't say it because I'm not against it. It's just one of those things I still find funny. In order to get a ham radio, you still need to get a license.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
in some ways makes sense. Like I'm not knocking it. It's just
Well,
one of those.
because it's a Canadian FCC.
Yeah,
thing,
it's
right?
true, and that's Canadian too. I don't
But
know
yeah,
what-
but that's a good point. But if you want to throw on, I don't know, a podcast where three idiots talk about whatever they want to talk about online, there's no license against that.
Correct.
You can
Right.
do that
Yep.
and through any platform. And there's ones that support.
and that's one of the
negative
great
ones as well.
things about the internet is that it provided that. Now it does have
True.
its
It's because
negatives.
there's no.
but-
It's because there's no. Well, I mean, every site has a different one, I guess, like standards and practices or whatever. Whereas ham radio, that was established where there would be a universal standards and practices for radio and television waves.
That everyone was
If it's
abiding
going
by.
out
Yeah.
into the world on
Yes.
a airwave or whatever, spirit fingers,
UHF and all that fun
Yeah,
stuff.
if it's going out on that kind of thing, that there has
VHF, was
to
that the
you
other
have
one?
to have a license.
Yeah, UHF,
so, right?
VHF. Oh, I remember those. Ah.
Oh yeah.
And you know what's funny? I get nostalgic about those things, but you can't even try that anymore because they have that whole new digital version.
Yeah. Is there even an actual cable signal anymore? Can you
No, I
even?
don't think
It's all
so.
digital.
You
right?
need a special receiver. You can still
Yeah.
receive, is my understanding, but you need now a special one.
Yeah, actually, there are like digital rabbit ears.
Yes, that you need
Well,
one of those.
there would be an underground thing would be to try to figure out some sort of programming through. I don't know how you would do it.
Oh, I
don't
think
know.
I think it's one of those.
It's an analog
I
cable
think you
system.
can do it. It's just one of those challenges. In order to actually spread the signal, though, you would need to have a tower. Which
Well,
no.
there's that.
has
Not
that.
only that, but your television now doesn't have an antenna built in.
Right.
Correct.
Right. There's no antenna
Yeah.
anymore.
Right, so you would
Yeah.
have to get TVs, which fewer and far between now have a coaxial
Right.
Oh,
input, right?
Yeah, there's not many left. That's crazy. To
I don't
think
think you can
Just
buy
like-
a new one at all.
Just like your RCA inputs.
I think my TV is
RCA.
pretty new. It's within the last few years, and I think it's got a coax cable
Yeah, it still has
connection
one.
on it. But you're right. I've seen them less and
Yeah,
less.
mine
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to get a new one recently.
Well, I
and it
know
doesn't.
like AV jacks are becoming few and far between now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
on
my
TV
telly still
components.
has that, but I don't
Yeah.
use.
I have a TV that I bought when I lived in St. Thomas. That little, what is it, 13-inch kind of. It's got S video, coax, AV, VGA. It's got
All the
fucking
old-
all of them.
all the old
HDMI.
obsolete.
No, it's got all
HDMI,
the
yeah.
old obsolete ones, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't want that.
Well,
TV to
HDMI
die.
still is around, but it's less used. It's all
Yeah.
DisplayPort nowadays.
It's pretty much
Yeah.
DisplayPort. Yeah. Yeah. Although I use HDMI, so whatever.
Everybody still uses HDMI. What are you talking about?
I don't use HDMI. I'm DisplayPort.
He's cool
It's
like that.
high.
Yeah.
DisplayPort and Oculus, for not Oculus Rift, of course, but the Oculus audio cable thingy. What do they call that? The laser
Optical
cable.
audio.
Optical.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's
See, now that's still old tech.
that is still old
That's
tech,
old
but
tech.
It is.
it's still
Good old light pipe.
yeah. But
Yeah.
for whatever reason,
It's because it works
That-
well.
yeah, it works well.
That's how two of those things are hooked up.
People can't
Via light
see
pipe.
what AJ is pointing at. He's pointing at
Those
these
things, these.
two slaves in a
Gadgets.
cage over there. over there.
Hey,
Hey, you locked them there, man. It's not on me. I don't know
No,
why.
he didn't lock them there. He invited them in. They walked in,
That's
and
true.
he closed the door.
Well, he did. Was it you that put the food in there? Or was it him that put the food in there?
Well, I prepared the food.
Oh, okay.
but-
All right, then. Okay. That's what AJ's pointing at.
The food? No.
Not the food. No, that's been eaten by the slaves. That's right.
Gerald and Danny.
Harold and Daddy. Yeah. Those weren't. Those are their slave names, right?
No,
Those
No.
were their legit
Yeah.
names. Okay. All right. Well, that's respect. Respect.
Gerald O'Malley and Danny, Danny Peterson.
Yeah. And speaking of that, what would happen? What would if, let's talk about this interesting scenario.
No,
The Civil War. What if the South won instead of the North?
I don't know.
There'd be a lot more people talking like this.
There'll be a lot more of that. And slavery would not be abolished.
Slavery?
Slavery?
Slavery.
Slavery would not be abolished.
Slavery.
Slavery would not be abolished.
At the time.
At the time, yeah. Like, we wouldn't know what maybe
So
would have happened.
Maybe it would have gone on a little bit longer, but I think that was something that was going to implode.
I think so too, because basically,
What gives you, I want to know what gives you that.
because
inkling?
by that point, pretty much every other country in the world had gotten rid of slavery.
That's not true.
Name another country at that time.
I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there's,
Yeah, name another country at
No,
that
no.
time.
But that's what I
but
mean.
that's not true because slavery still exists today.
No. So don't get
So-
me wrong. What I mean though is, and again,
That's true.
it doesn't exist in that same stance from a country perspective though, where they will happily just say, yes, we have slaves.
Yeah.
They don't do that. Now, are there countries in which, they have different classes and, they have the class warfare? But yes, one can make that argument. Even here in Canada, we have that. More what I'm talking about is, at that time, how many countries would actually allow and were on the side of full slavery? At that time, the big one was really just still the States. There was no other ones left. By that point, all of Canada, of course, no. England, no. All those countries, no. The only place that maybe one can make the argument.
Well, a lot of countries in Africa, yes.
So if we're going to play...
But you had South
Asian,
Africa,
yes.
but it wasn't the same style of slavery. Not that I'm absolving.
Slavery
It's
is
just,
slavery.
So if we're going to...
Slavery is slavery.
So I'm going to...
We're mincing words if it's not.
well, no, it's not slavery
But
in the
I'm
sense of forcing you to be sold, but you maybe didn't have the same rights.
I'm going to agree
That
with
I'll agree with.
Dave
Okay.
on this one. Eventually, that would have happened regardless, probably, right? Like, the entire world wouldn't have just run on slavery forever. There would have been certain countries that would have abolished it. The word would have gotten out, potentially, and eventually slavery in the Western world would have gone the same way.
I don't know. I see something different because back then the U.S. was also still the hot country, the whatever. And I could see if the South won, they would have doubled down and made it more normalized. I think that could have happened.
I think there would have been a Civil War Part 2.
Yeah, because I have to admit, the fact that there was a war does suggest that overall as a country, they disagreed.
Well, yes, but slavery wasn't their only argument. There was
That's
a
fair.
lot of
There
things
was
that they
other
were fighting
shits.
over,
That's
right?
fair,
Slavery
yes.
was just kind of
The big one, but yeah.
the big one, yeah. So I just think that it might not be as frowned upon today if the South had won. Or, like you guys are saying, it just would have been a Civil War II, and then this. Well, what would happen if the Civil War II didn't happen?
I think as the world got older, people got more intelligent, quote unquote, because there are a lot of stupid fucking people. But humans got more intelligent. They would have learned, and slaves would have revolted.
Why?
Why not?
Because up until
You ask me why, but why not?
Why? Because
there
a long period of
internet
time.
still just because slavery is a thing doesn't mean there is no internet,
Right.
or no books, or no
I want
people
to
coming
believe,
and teaching people that it is different and you don't have to do this.
I want to believe that yes, we would have evolved past the point of slavery. I like that idea. I think that's a very romantic idea. But I also know up until a certain point, no one even fucking thought slavery was bad.
Robots are slaves.
No one ever, they are. And case in point, we use robots as slaves now, right? But nobody thought slavery was even a thing. Like even the Bible. I mean, I know that's whatever, say what you want about the Bible. There's nothing in there that says slavery is a negative thing. So our entire history across the globe, slavery was perfectly accepted. It wasn't until big catastrophic events happened that we started to say, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore. And then eventually,
But why did
the
somebody
evolution
say,
happened.
hey, slavery's bad?
Money. It all comes back to money. I don't know where, how,
Slavery
but I'm always
being
going to say it's money.
Slavery being bad equals money?
Pardon? Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just assume it's always money. And it's never for the people. I don't think people make
and
decisions for the good of the people. There's
one
paycheck in it.
could make an argument that we technically still have a form of it, and you
We
already
sure
called
do.
it out
Mhm.
through the money aspect.
Mhm.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like in order to actually, eat and do things, you have to go to work.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we live in some form of slavery today.
So
But you do have a choice.
but you have a
you
choice
think
with
that
slavery.
somebody
or
went,
not.
hey, if we made it so these people, like back to the Civil War, hey, if we
Mhm.
made it, if these people weren't slaves, they'd be able to buy stuff.
Sorry, say that again.
Somebody sat down and said, hey, if we abolished slavery and allowed African Americans to have jobs and have this, there would be more people to buy stuff. That's why slavery was abolished. Sorry, going back to your
about
me
money.
asking the question,
I don't
you
know.
saying money.
Yeah, I don't know the direct through line, but yeah, that would be possibly it as a way to say we have a bigger economy if we allow this other segregated race to be able to have purchasing power.
No, I'm going to go with people are good.
That's a
To a
really
degree.
nice. That's nice. That's a nice thought, AJ.
I'm sorry you
It's really
can't.
nice.
I'm sorry you can't join the side of it
Well,
possibly
considering-
being true.
Considering, I don't want to get into it, but like considering that Civil War never really abolished slavery in the first place. Like Dave just said, it still exists today, but we actually have examples on how slavery evolved alongside society, and people are still kept in slave-like conditions across the world. So that's why I don't necessarily believe if the South won, slavery would be abolished. In fact, I think it would probably be more rampant today, at least in the U.S. Beyond, but that's why we're having this conversation, because we don't know.
Well, yeah, that's one of the challenges with this style of conversation, where really you could just pick
Say what
any
you want.
side.
What if aliens touched down? So,
Well, no,
They
we've
did.
already covered this. They have. That's how
true.
we
Yeah.
were created, because the aliens had sex with the monkeys.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's sex with the monkeys.
Sorry, apes. I apologize.
Yeah, don't
With
be
the
rude,
apes. I'm sorry. I apologize. I
You're
know.
ignorant.
I know, my bad. My
Yeah.
mistake.
Jeez.
Apes and monkeys are not the same thing.
Jeez. And I don't think you can call them aliens anymore. They're terrestrially challenged, I think is what they're called.
But didn't they come from some sort of terrestrial?
I don't know. That's what they
I don't know if I call them
yeah,
terrestrial
they did.
challenge. I don't know. Yeah.
Anyways. Anyway.
I don't know where to go now. Fuck.
Yeah, we've got
I would
Talk
say
yourself to a
they're
point.
humanly challenged.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they would be. Yeah, definitely.
That one is a good argument. Fair.
All right. Any other ideas for
For what if?
revisionists? Yeah.
Yeah.
What if dinosaurs didn't die?
That's
we
a good
wouldn't
one.
be here.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here.
Don't think so, eh?
No,
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think we evolved fast enough to
To,
beat
to
dinosaurs.
outrun dinosaurs
No.
or
Yeah.
out be eaten
No.
by dinosaurs?
I don't think so. I think they
I don't
would
know.
have
They
fucking
can't
destroyed
all
us.
get into
I
caves.
am one of those annoying people that not only would dinosaurs still be here, but we wouldn't be here. Everything we picture and see in this world likely wouldn't really be here if that asteroid did not hit.
Yeah.
That asteroid
Ice
is
Age
part
or
of the
whatever it
birth
was.
of the asteroid specifically.
How do you know it was the asteroid?
Because without the asteroid,
It was
it wouldn't have
dinosaur
changed
farts.
the I almost said economy. Wouldn't have changed the actual world, the climate, all those things
Yeah,
provide that
so wouldn't-
framework.
that's
True.
So
we would
what-
have been a
so
different
then-
trajectory.
So then the show Dinosaurs.
Yeah, I knew you were going to bring that
What
up.
would have happened?
Which one was dying? Oh,
With the living sitcom with the family of dinosaurs.
Oh,
not
yeah,
the
no,
mama,
no, no.
not the
The
mama.
No, no, no,
quoted
no.
sentient dinosaurs?
I know they
Yeah.
were sentient. I never said they weren't sentient. That existed, but unfortunately, the
That happened.
asteroid hit.
Yeah.
And wiped
That's
all
how
that
it
out.
actually happened.
That is, because think about this. Well, what do we find? We find dinosaur bones.
Mm-hmm.
What within the society of what you've seen in that lovely show, that historic show, would have been able to survive millions of years? Nothing.
Yeah.
Like we can barely find things that humans made 1,000 years ago.
it's true.
That's
yes,
true.
it's very
That's
true.
That's very
Yeah.
true.
The dinosaurs had that full.
We don't
lovely
know
society.
shit about our history, although we act like we do. We don't know anything because we keep losing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't document it. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah.
There
That's
you
a good
go.
point.
I made my valid argument. We can finish the podcast.
That's true. Yep. No, I'm with you, Dave. I'm with you. Because I just don't
And
see
the
how.
dinosaurs died because of dinosaur farts.
No, they died because of the asteroid.
No, the asteroid came in. What happens when an asteroid comes into the atmosphere? It burns up. It causes fire. Lots of dinosaur farts within the ozone layer, which doesn't have holes in it yet. So it's just keeping all the dinosaur farts in.
No. Well, see, the dinosaur farts may have contributed, but you also have to remember, it was not just the asteroid coming in with the flames and then the dinosaur farts being on fire. It was also then the asteroid hitting the ground, causing all the dust and everything to come up into the
that
clouds.
that
and then-
created other things.
well, it was all of these things together which resulted in our poor dinosaur overlords disappearing from
I
the
think you're
homeland.
both wrong. I think it was a result of the dinosaur civil war that happened, and they just couldn't get along, and they
I
just
think
killed
it
each
was
other.
Scientology.
Well, you can't
what
really call it a
happened.
civil
think it was
war if it was
Xenu.
across the entire world.
Pardon?
You can't call it a civil war if it was entirely across. Well, I guess if they were maybe just
It was-
one country.
it was
or
World
something.
War D.
World War D.
World War
D.
D.
WWD.
World War D took place in
Back in
100 million
WWD.
thousand BC.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
Well, it'd be more than not even.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, that to the Scientology thing, I was going to say that'd be an interesting what if. What if Scientology was the dominant religion versus, say, Christianity or Muslim or something? What would that look like?
Nothing different. It would just have the same name or a different name.
Exact same thing. Yeah,
Same thing, different name.
nothing's changed. But we would know about DS9s and that looked like
OT9?
Deep Space Nine?
That's right, Deep Space Nine.
It was a great show. I enjoyed that one.
DP9? What?
Wow.
Oh,
Hello.
I cannot DP9. I can get to about 5 maybe, but I cannot get to
You
9.
could have more Diet Pepsis than that, I'm
I think-
sure. Sure, you can. And you see Deadpool way more times than that.
I don't know. Like, I guess I just have a different opinion on religion. Religion's religion. It would have been the same but different.
Except
instead of Christianity and Catholicism being a dominant religion,
JBL and or JBH and
it would have been
or LRH. That's the name of that.
Yeah, it would have been same but different. I don't know how to explain it. It just
you're just swapping out one for the other.
Yeah,
that's what you're thinking.
Essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it should probably be weird, but
it'd be very weird.
I guess it would be much different because of the way it's structured. Now that I'm thinking about it, because you have your celebrity level and then your regular people level, and then if those regular people want to live on the fucking bases and stuff like that, the Scientology fucking compounds and whatnot, then you're in the Sea Org and yada yada yada. So I guess is kind of
it would introduce a new
than
level of
Christianity.
classism, I think.
Yeah,
based off what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
right. Yeah,
which if that was a dominant religion, you would see that more prevalent. But yeah, huh? Yeah, well, too bad it's not, I guess.
But and then outside the walls, there'd be like the desert, and that's where all the suppressive people would be forced to go and live.
Oh, they'd be
that would be like some
ostracized?
dystopian Mad Max bullshit going on.
Outcasted.
Out there. Yeah, just
Yeah.
like that episode of South Park.
Yeah, absolutely.
Didn't have anything to do with Scientology, but
No, I know you're not going.
you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
they get rid of the kids.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a great episode.
Yeah.
That's watching it.
Yeah, so that's what it'd be like. Because I mean, there's the whole suppressive person thing, right? So what would they do with those people?
Yeah, it'd be a lot more tattletales, wouldn't there?
Maybe
A lot more, or maybe a lot less.
depending on
Right, yeah.
right, depending on the punishment.
That's true. Well, yeah.
Like, are you ostracized? Are you alienated from the rest of society, or are you just dead? Like, no, you're a suppressive person.
That's it. Yeah, no. That's
Because it is a pretty
It's in the
harsh.
doctrine.
From here tell, from what we've heard, it is quite a harsh doctrine.
Yeah, it
behind
is.
those closed doors. I would probably say in the Sea Org part of it, I feel like it would be much worse. Like when you're signing that billion-year contract, and like if you and I had gone into and signed up for Scientology in New York, we wouldn't be on that level.
No,
Or we wouldn't be on the celebrity level. We wouldn't be on the whole, doing it for the rest of our lives level.
we'd be on the hi. We're broke. How can we raise money to stay in this religion level? That's where we
pretty
would be.
much,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Can just
Do you
walk
have
in.
do you have money? People that you can borrow money off of?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I got none. No. If I did, I would have given it to my church. But no.
And I've always wondered what would happen if that happened. Like if you didn't have a job and you didn't have any family and you were part of Scientology and they're always asking you for money, do they just kick you the fuck out?
Yeah.
Then that's not really a religion, is it?
I guess in the government size it is, because that's how you register a religion.
I guess.
So, I'm from a compassionate level, it's not, but there's,
No.
there's lots of,
And that's the thing. Like there's I don't are there religions that are that
suppressive or oppressive.
yeah.
I mean, are all
Like, to
religions
that-
that suppressive and oppressive?
No, but I can walk into a church and like be like, "Hey, I'm having a really rough time. I want to talk to a priest because I feel like that's the only place I can turn." And they'll be like, "Okay," and they won't charge me money or kick me out.
No, they won't. But I don't. It's not like a free service. It's like they're doing it.
Well, the
For
Catholic
God.
Church is,
no,
sir.
no, it's not. It's free. Okay, it's free in the sense that it's not costing you anything, but there is some sort of exchange with their knowledge of God, and they're talking, and they expect that to come back to them, right? So let's say they do something for you, even though it's maybe not said.
But not everybody's like that.
But
Not-
all
not
religions are
everybody's-
like that.
But not everybody's in it to serve themselves, sir. People take the
no,
word.
but every
people-
religion
people
is in
do-
it to serve the religion.
People do not necessarily.
All religion is served to
No.
the religion.
I
Yeah.
disagree.
All right. Cool.
I disagree that not all things are 100% that.
Well, there's no such thing. Well, I'm not gonna say that.
There are people out there who believe in God and Jeebus and all that kind of stuff, that will do something just to be nice, not to serve themselves
And
or the
there
religion
are
they
lots of
believe
people
in.
out there that don't believe in Jesus or God and just do something nice for the sake of doing
Yeah, but
something nice.
We weren't
Absolutely.
talking about that. We were
But
talking in the context of religion.
Right. So religion lives to serve religion. That I'll die in that hill. Die in that hill.
No.
All right. Okay. Let's just agree to disagree.
No.
No, I don't agree to disagree.
Okay.
I disagree with the disagree.
Yes.
Okay. Well, do we want to talk about revisionist history? Do you want to keep on talking about this part?
Well, we can go on to say, what if the Bible isn't true? There's some revisionist history.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Or any of sort of religious texts.
Yep.
See, I don't count that as revisionist, though, because that does, in a lot of ways, is based off of your perception. I
Yeah,
can't. I
there's
don't think
no
you call
real-
that revisionist.
There's
But it's
no
also-
technical historical context. There is, but
It's presented that way.
Yeah.
of course it is.
At least let's go with, again, the Catholic Bible,
But
because that's what I
can
know.
we
It's
prove
presented
it?
as like
Can we?
history.
Yeah, but we can't prove. Okay, so we can say it's history, but let's say the story of Adam and Eve, right? When was that written?
But the proof is the Bible.
But when was that written?
After.
Right. So how can we say that's historical accuracy? That's what I'm saying. We can't say yes.
Because-
it's presented as such.
Because
But we can't
they
say
tell
it
me
is.
it is.
Right, because they tell you it is. Again, because it serves their religion. But that's just. Are you okay?
But then that would lead me
Yeah,
to
that looked
believe
rough.
that. Then that would lead me to believe that more stories in this book are fictional,
Okay.
because that has to be a fictional story. Nobody was there.
Okay.
Nobody was there to see the snake and the apple and the this and the that.
Okay.
So it must be fictional.
Maybe it is. Wouldn't that be a concept if it was?
But it must be.
All right. Okay.
But that's what all the text thereafter is based off of.
Mm-hmm.
So no?
All I can say is there's not a single story in the Bible or any sort of religious text that I know of that was written at the time it happened. All of it were written years, decades, and beyond afterwards.
Which is interesting to me, because there's a lot of historical text that was possibly written at the time it happened,
Yeah.
right? Like you're in times of knights and stuff like that. There were probably dudes who were like, yo, fucking King Arthur came back yesterday and we came back from this trip and this is what happened,
Well-
and now that's in a book.
I think King Arthur was fictional.
He was, but
So are the Knights of the Round Table.
Oh, well, there you go.
But to your point,
So King Jimmy John and and me, we was out in the bush the other day and we saw a princess, and yeah, anyway. You get my point.
Yeah.
But how, I guess my question is then shouldn't that be more revered, stories like that, than something you don't have hardcore proof of?
One could say what gives the Bible its legitimacy is how old it is. Because the only other book that we know the age of is Homer's Odyssey of like that time period. Like, and we measure it against that, knowing that both were created around the same time. So
But what about
well,
like
crazy
Dead Sea Scrolls, shit like
well,
that?
yeah, that's a whole thing. I don't know why. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about the Dead Sea Scrolls.
And I'm
why
sure
they're
there's
not
a lot of
included.
Buddhist texts that were written around the same time, because Buddha and Jesus were kind of in the same time frame, like the original Buddha.
And the
like,
original Jesus, or
Goo-
which
Goo-
Jesus you talking about?
Jesus Hernandez.
Okay.
You know Jesus Hernandez.
Yeah, I know Jesus Hernandez.
The founder of Taco Bell.
He's my buddy. He's my homie.
No, but yeah, there's also questions saying that they could have studied with each other, and that's why Jesus was all like, "Hey, let's be good to one another."
I love that idea. And if they both existed at the same time, I really hope they got together to learn. But from my understanding, if they did, I don't know how that could have happened. But I would love
because
that was
Jesus
the
went
case.
for a walk.
He did go for.
He walked a lot.
He sure did. He sure
We don't
did.
know what happened
It's
between
true.
the ages of 12 and 33.
Well, the Dead Sea Scrolls do, but they don't count. So
Apparently not.
Yeah. It's these are a lot of really great questions. And one could say it might be good to take a revisionist history approach to the Bible and see what comes out on the other side. But
They should.
Yeah.
Somebody has to.
Someone has to. I don't know if that's gonna happen.
There gotta be somebody out there who's like, hey, no. Let's figure this shit out.
Let's go.
Because the stories had to have come from
they're kernels
somewhere
of
if
truth.
they're trying to present it as truth.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
So, but how much of it is and how much of it is hearsay? How much of it is something that like happened after the fact?
Yeah.
Right? Like Adam and Eve or
Mhm.
the creation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I guess you have to
Or even
believe.
Jesus.
I guess you have to believe that God talks to people like directly, not just metaphorically or that kind of stuff.
And therein lies faith. You have to have faith that all that stuff happened to be a part of, whatever religion you're in. How many people do you think are laughing right now in our audience right now?
I would believe it if it was proven to happen now.
What do you mean?
God talking to people like actual, and then like what's his name tried to do? John Smith.
He did talk to him.
Oh yeah,
he got the golden plates
in a hat.
He's got the golden plates.
You know what I'm saying though? Like and then it kind of continued the story of the Bible. Like it was an add-on to that was legitimate, like a legit.
Yeah.
It seemed like it just all of a sudden stopped. That's it. That's all we have. And the end. Like
that's it. It's just heaven. That's the end.
Just
heaven.
That's it.
That's it. That's it.
Bible over.
It's over.
But
death, destruction,
I think Jesus
despair,
was a real dude. I believe Jesus was a real man. Was he David Blaine? No, I don't think he was like that. But I believe he was like, hey, let's be cool. Like, don't be a dick. Hey, don't throw stones at that person.
Passing the joints around? Is that what he's doing?
Maybe.
That's how they smoked back then?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But I would like, I think somebody should maybe try and figure that shit out. Like, actually fucking hardcore figure that out.
Well, a lot of theologists are usually in it to try to prove rather than disprove.
Debunk.
So I think that's why we haven't, or if we have seen it, I'm not too aware of it. But I think it's a good
Vatican had him fucking taken out.
Yeah.
But this guy knows too much.
Yeah. Dave, thanks for contributing to that section of the conversation. I really appreciate
you guys were full into it.
Love it.
I have the nice generic opinion of, is your boat floating? You haven't sunk anybody? Be happy. Do your thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Religion is a really great topic to throw the revisionist lens on, and I'd like to see more of that.
If I knew more about other religions, I don't know if I would feel the same or not. I don't know the Quran. I don't know. I haven't read Dianetics.
Well, let me tell you. How much money you got?
I'm sure I can find it for free somewhere.
Nope.
Are you trying to sell me a copy of Dianetics?
Yes, I have a copy
now?
right here that I could sell you for the low price of how much you got.
How much you got? How much your mom got? How much your grandma got?
Any other topics, gentlemen, we want to talk about?
I don't know.
I'm good. Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's wrap her up.
What if Venom infected Deadpool?
That's happened.
In a what if? In a revisionist history book.
Yeah, but I think it's canon too.
Is it canon now?
I think they did it canon.
Oh.
Yeah, he looks awesome. He looks great.
I don't want to read that. I just want what if scenarios.
What ifs, yeah. I mean, because Deadpool can break through the fourth wall. I'm almost convinced that everything he's done is canon. It's kind of fucked, but it makes sense too.
It does.
Yeah. So.
It does.
So what if it would be awesome? It would be fucking Deadpool covered in Venom symbiote losing his shit.
So that
trying to eat people.
That movie about the guy at Christmas that you guys like, that he says, "I wish I was never born," and then the angel takes him through and shows him that what would happen if he was never born. Is that kind of like a revisionist sort of theory, like life revision? No, Miracle on 34th Street.
No,
Isn't
he's talking the other one.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, in a way it is, because
that would be. I know it's not history.
No, but yeah, it is. Like, it's here's what your life would be like.
What if
with out or with what.
So I
you know.
guess
Absolutely,
the
1000%.
Scrooge story could be
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same kind of idea, right? Like
Definitely. It's like, well, yeah, goes to future
whatever.
present and past. It's like, well, if you weren't here, or
Yeah,
here's
if you
how
weren't a dick,
affected them.
then yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Huh.
Yeah.
Back to the
Different
future.
cases. Back to the future. Revisionist history. where
Revisionist pop culture.
Pop culture that they could change if they wanted to. Because oh fuck, I fucked that up. Let's go back. Top of the DeLorean. All right, on that note, let's wrap up, shall we? And you out there.
That was good.
Yeah, it was really good. You do that for the entire time I do the outro if you want. But you out there, what do you think of this conversation? Do you have any ideas of what ifs and revisionist ideas of our history? We want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts on this topic and beyond in the comments. Keep the conversation rolling, man. And if you like what we're doing here, we got ourselves a little buy me a coffee link. You can throw money at us to help keep things on and stuff. And anybody out there that is not feeling well in the mental department, we just want you to know you are not alone. You matter, not just to us, but to those that are around you. So it's important to talk about this stuff. So if you can't do that with anybody in your vicinity, we are going to have some links as well. All these links are in our comments, or sorry, our description for you to click on to find the help that you need. But until next time, I've been Harvey.
I'm to Dave.
What if George Lucas never made the prequels?
We'd be a lot better off.
Oh man, I'm AJ.
That's right. And just like that, you got yourself sarcastically distracted. Have yourselves a wonderful day.
Take care.
Okay, now bye.